Hi, everybody, Matt Scudero with the Credit Research Foundation. Welcome to our third micro-learning session in third-party relationships. I'm super excited again to have Sam Fensterstock with us. This session is on how to measure and evaluate your results with a third-party agency. Sam, great to have you back. And again, thank you for spending some time with us. And certainly want to thank AGA for their continued support of the foundation. They are a platinum partner for those folks that may not know that. And a longtime contributor to the foundation, and we're really appreciative of all that they do. This is the third in a micro-learning session. Again, how to measure and evaluate performance. We already covered what to look for in an agency, how to maximize your performance, and that's both from a senior level as well as an operational level. And now we're going to talk a little bit about metrics and how to measure. So Sam, great to have you back with us. Before we get started, any opening comments?
No, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it's all about results, so it's a great way to end the three-part series because, in my experience, the only way that a collection agency loses a customer pretty much is for having a lack of result. And so, results are really important. So I'm happy we're focusing on this.
That's great. Why don't we jump right into the probably biggest question that's out there and most relevant to start with. And that's, there are 2 points of view here, or 2 views of results. First is the performance of the agency against your portfolio of placed accounts. And really, to be fair and balanced, it's the performance of the individuals that process the placements that are set to an agency. Why don't we take each one of those and chat about them? And what can you share with us on how to best evaluate your results? And if you have some ideas on some metrics and things that work really well on both sides of the equation, if you could share those with the folks.
Sure. I mean, listen, everybody looks at an agency's performance differently. Right. And when I would say everyone looks at it, I'd say there's really 2 ways you look at their performance. Number one is gross recovery rate. And the other one is what you call net recovery rate. Gross recovery is just looking at, how much money was placed, how much money was collected, and what's the percentage. Not discounting anything, not taking out of the equation bankruptcies, defunct corporations, skips, companies that went out of business but didn't go through the process to file for bankruptcy. What is collectible versus non-collectible. And a lot of companies just say, hey, listen, I'm going to judge you based on total dollars. I don't care what the scenario is, how much I sent you, how much you collected, and what's that result, right? Fine, no problem. Other people are going to say, well, listen, I want to judge you based on how much I sent you, how much you collected, what fee you charge me, and what's my cost of collection, and then what's the result after I take out my cost of collection, and what's the percentage there. Other companies will say, well, listen, I'll only judge you based on the accounts that were really collectible. So, bankruptcies, defunct companies that were defunct before I send it to you. I'm not going to let you, well, you can back that stuff out. Let's just look at the net number, right? Quite honestly, it's really up to the customer to determine what metric is most important to them. From an agency standpoint, I don't want to judge myself on something I can't collect. Like, if you place an account with me that's already bankrupt, right? There's Chapter 11 before you send it to me. Well, then how can you judge me on something that I could not collect? So normally I would back that out of my analysis. Some people don't want you to back that out of their analysis. So believe it or not, at AGA, we provide recovery results any way our client wants us to. Like, we go to them and say, how do you guys evaluate it internally? We can show it to you this way. We can show you to this way. We can show you to a mix of any way you want us to show it. What's the way that you do it? How we would do it is by taking out the accounts that are uncollectible in our mind. So if you think about it, Matt, if you place an account with an agency for $10,000, right? And that agency does their whole in-house process. Debtors there, they're alive. They make multiple promises to pay. They break those promises, all right? They move the file to the attorney. Attorney comes back, says, I can't get them to the table. We think you should move forward with litigation. They're open, they're operating. They broke 3 promises to pay. It's $10,000. It's going to cost $600 to move forward with litigation. Do you want to move forward? And my client says, no, we're going to close the account. Should I be judged for not being able to collect that account? I mean, they still had an account that could have gone down the path of litigation. We're successful in litigation close to 50% of the time when we move down that path. So there still was a step that could have been taken, but the client chose not to take that step. But now they're telling me they want to judge me for that I was unsuccessful. So once again, every company looks at it a different way. I would say that account that I thought I could collect, You took it back, you closed it. So now I can't collect it. So why should I be judged for that? That was a loss for me because I didn't collect it, but you didn't let me go my full step. So once again, every client's different. What we like to think at AGA is because we have a really an advanced reporting platform that's fully customizable. We go to our client and say, how do you look at it, your company? And we can build the analytics for you the way you look at it, but we're also going to show it to you the way that we look at it. Because, remember, in an agency, we probably judge ourselves at agencies. And when I talk to my partners, my colleagues in the industry, the other platinum partner members, and I talk to them about results in the industry, we all look at it the same way. We look at it gross and we look at it net. Gross meaning total dollars collected, total dollars placed. What's that number? And then what's the number that if we look at ourselves internally, we judge our performance on, because we know we can't collect an account that's bankrupt. We can't collect an account that's defunct and no longer registered with the Secretary of State. We can't collect an account that our client placed with us in error and then took it back, but I can't back the number out of my system because they already placed it. So all these things go into the equation. And what I would recommend to companies is come up with a standard, right, that your partner agrees with, that you both are judging yourselves the same way. If you're judging your results differently than your customers judging your results, you're going to have a disconnect at some point that's not going to turn out well, because you're going to think that either you're doing better or worse than they think you are, and you're not looking at apples and oranges or apples and apples. You're looking at apples and oranges. And I got to tell you, I admit I've run into that equation with my own client where I thought I was doing a great job, but because we were more successful with legal collections on their paper than in-house collections, my cost of collection was higher than one of my competitors, and that was just the way that we were successful in the accounts. I was evaluating myself based on my number. He was evaluating me based on my cost of collection, which was higher than one of my competitors. We had a disconnect. We were looking at each other, our results differently. Somebody loses in that scenario. Usually it's the agency, So those are some things I would talk about.
Wow, that's good. Sounds like one, be realistic. Folks need to define what's important to them for a metric and make sure they communicate that. Be flexible in their metrics because it's what's right for their business, and that's understood, right? It may not be right for a different business. Online reporting sounds important, right? So you have a standard and a base.
I mean, Matt, we'll just jump in there for a second. I mean, one of the things that, I think is so critical in this space is having easy access to that kind of data, right? Like having it at your fingertips. There's so many times where I walk into a company and they're not using AGA and I say, well, tell me, what's your recovery rate? And they don't know. They don't have easy access to, well, hold on, we get a report at the end of the month from our agency. Wait, you can't just like log online right now in 2 seconds, come up with it? No. Well, once again, how can you evaluate performance if you don't have access to that data very easily? And that performance is around a couple areas. I mean, it's about money coming in the door, money going out the door. How much activity is happening on an account. These are all things that can be easily measured and accessed if you have access to the data online. Like I said, I'm proud to say that AGA, we have a very robust reporting tool. Many times it's why we win our clients, because we give them that access to the figures. And then it's like being able to give them their reporting. Remember, every company has their own way that they analyze things, right? And so if you're trying to take a square peg and put it in a round hole, right, with your customer, the results are not going to be as good as you want them to be. So once again, AGA, we go to our clients and say, here, give us your reporting, right? Give us the way that you manage it, and we'll put it online for you so you have access to it 24/7. And then we have an apples to apples view of performance, not an apples to orange view, which once again doesn't end up going very well.
But it goes back to some clear communication you started with in micro session number 1, right? Good communication is so important. And then defining what the expectations are. Here, it's about creating that reporting and the capability. An agency should have a good platform for reporting those results back to you in the way that you.
I mean, the thought is that if you think about it, in the totality of the sales of the company, the accounts that they place in the agency is usually a very small percentage of their overall sales, right? So if you think about it, it's the bottom of the barrel, right? It's the things that they don't want to focus on. However, every dollar recovered goes to the bottom line from an account that's been written off and placed in collections. Think about it. Most of the accounts are written off, they've been reserved against, right? So So you bringing back this money, is beneficial. And where the measurement becomes more important, Matt, is based on volume, right? If you think about it, if you place 5 accounts a year, do you really need to measure your results, right? But if you place 25,000 accounts a year, and there are customers who do that, companies do that, well, then that's a very big different number. When you're placing that kind of volume, you're definitely going to want to have analytics to show performance. I don't have one of my clients that places significant volume that I am not going through reporting with them, on a monthly, weekly basis, daily basis. And that's why, once again, we built our reporting platform years ago because we had high volume clients that were very demanding about analytics to support, why are they still using us? Why are we doing the job that they have hired us to do? And the only way you could do that is by giving them access to the data. And so, at AGA, we've made it, part of our mission, and it's one of our 3 pillars, having smarter systems, because, you want to give them that. But to hear the thing about it now, an agency is going to analyze their performance even more than a partner will, because going back to what I've said in each of the previous 2 recordings, we don't get paid unless we're successful. And so if we're not successful, we work for free. We don't want to work for free. So, so what I would recommend, the last thing is the best practices that you and your partner, you and your customer, you're on the same page as far as the analytics. That if you can't give them what they want, get them what they want, right? Get them the analytics they need, but also make sure that you are in agreement that this is how you're going to look at the performance. Because if you're looking at the net result and they're looking at the gross result, once again, apples and oranges, you got to make sure you're both on the same page.
So an agency should be able to sit down with you, agree on some metrics, be able to report on those metrics, and you should align on what those metrics are, timing, et cetera, how they're going to be calculated, what you're going to look at, what's important to both sides. And certainly love the comment that you made about the internal side, right? That it's so important for an agency because it is on a contingency basis. So they're probably a little more stringent on their metrics and their capabilities and performance to maximize internal results, which maximize the external results back to a client.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret, Matt. AGA was recapitalized by a private equity firm a couple of years ago, and everything is on performance metrics now. I mean, everything is around every phone call and how much money do we make a call? It's down to that level. So if your agency partner has this kind of data, they can share it with you, and that then helps you make sure that the analytics that you are relying upon to evaluate performance, that once again, that you're aligned and you're on the same playing field. Because if you're not, it's a recipe for failure.
Good point, right? An agency should be able to provide to you their performance metrics from a historical standpoint. Well, good.
Yep.
Well, good. Any final closing comments from your side? I think we covered quite a bit through the 3 sessions, and certainly this one on how to measure and evaluate results was a great one.
Listen, we know at the end of the day, using an agency is like, the worst case scenario, however, what I like to think is I've been in this business for a while is that there's 4,000 of us out there for some reason, because there's a need here. And if you want to maximize the success that you have in working with an agency and all the things that we talked about in these 3 videos, if you take them to consideration and implement them, you're going to find that you're going to have a better relationship with your agency partner. The relationship's going to work a lot smoother. The last thing you want is a relationship with a lot of hiccups in it, because that's not usually a good relationship. And so what I like to think, as an agency, we like to set the tone with our clients to make sure that we have a win-win partnership. Because at the end of the day, it's got to be a partnership. If it's not, and it's not a win-win, it's never going to be as successful as it could be. So, Matt, I really appreciate you looking at this topic, and that the CRF sees the value of bringing a review of agencies and third parties into the mix and conversation. So I appreciate you guys doing this.
Yeah, we appreciate the time you spent with us. And again, AGA is a platinum partner of CRF, and as I opened with on each of the 3 sessions, just thankful for all that you do, not only for CRF, but for the discipline. Much appreciated. And this is a great way to close, right, on how to measure and evaluate. And just a reminder for folks. Started with what to look for in an agency, then we went to how to maximize performance, and concluded with this one. And just a great session. Sam, I know you're there for the community. If they have questions, they can certainly reach out to you.
Anytime.
And if they have, they need to connect, they can go through CRF, and we'll forward you over there as well. So
Great.
again, thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this session.
Happy holidays. Oh, actually, no, this will be recorded. Sorry. Happy New Year.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks.